Morning, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome Rory McIlroy to the DP World Tour Championship. Rory, you've been in the UAE now for a second week with back-to-back Rolex Series events. Just give us a sense of what you're looking forward to this week and the potential of a sixth Race to Dubai title as well.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to, for me anyway, start and end the year here in Dubai. It's typically what I've done most of my career, and I've had a lot of success in the region. Winning at the Emirates again this year, and winning this tournament a couple of times, and hopefully the Race to Dubai for a sixth time on Sunday if I can. Just keep playing the way I played last week in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, always good to be back. Can't believe it's 15 years since the first time we came here, back in 2009. So yeah, it's always good to be back. And I guess my goal this week is to not have anyone with me on the 18th green. Try to win both titles. But yeah, so it's. Coming here last year, I already had it wrapped up, and which was obviously really nice, but at the same time, maybe lacked a little bit of motivation within the tournament because of that. So knowing that I still have to go out and play, pretty well, depending on what Thriston does, I think that gives me a little extra motivation to keep a bit more focus this week.
Great. We'll open for questions from the floor. Anyone like to start? Jamie? Can we just get a mic? Sorry for that.
So I can't hear you from all the way over there.
The whole drawing alongside Seve thing, when you get mentioned, alongside someone like that, it can never get old, really.
No, absolutely not. I was a little, I guess I am a little too young to remember a lot of like Seve's career and the things that he did. Seve's almost like not like a mythical character to me, but it was a little bit before my time. But he was my dad's favorite player, and I don't think it can be, the immense impact he had on European golf, from a Ryder Cup perspective, and from what he did for the European Tour. He means a lot to the overall game of golf, but specifically in this part of the world, and on this tour. So to draw level with him and to have a career that can sort of somewhat stack up against his is very cool.
Just to Rick.
Rory, just wonder how you assess the year now as we get to the end of it.
Yeah, incredibly consistent again. I think I've been really proud of that over the last few years. But then at the same time, thinking about the ones that got away, I should be sitting up here with a fifth major title, and I'm not. So that that stings, and that's something that I've had to come to terms with. But at the same time, I've got plenty more opportunities in the future. But I've really just tried to focus on the positives of this year, of consistently performing at the highest level. Still having 3 wins with an opportunity to get a fourth here this week, to win another Race to Dubai title. Did I achieve every goal I set myself this year? Probably not, but I still consider it a successful season. You've got 2 guys at the top of the world rankings, Xander winning 2 majors, Scotty winning a Masters and a Players, and the Olympics. They certainly separated themselves from the pack this year, and I'm obviously very aware of that, and only makes me more motivated to to try to emulate what they did this year.
If you were dishing out grades, what would you give yourself?
It would be a pass. It wouldn't be pass with flying colours, but probably a B.
Just going to go to Thomas in the back.
Rory, I'm from Denmark, and the other day after you played with Rasmus in Abu Dhabi, I talked to him about you and how you've taken him and Nikolai in. I wonder what it is about their game, their personalities, that made you open up to those two guys.
Yeah, I've always been super impressed by both of them. It still somehow surprises me how young they are, because I think about when I was their age, I was nowhere near as polished as a player or as a person. I think they're two incredibly impressive young men that are the future of the European game. They have amazing potential. Honestly, like if you had asked me 3 years ago, I probably would have said Rasmus would have been the one to make the Ryder Cup team first, and ended up being Nikolai. So yeah, they're incredible players. They're from a wonderful family. I've gotten to know their dad pretty well as well, and yeah, it's funny to say this, that they're good kids. I'm 13 or 14 years older than them. And they have huge potential. They have great games. They have very good heads on their shoulders. Yeah, and they've got bright futures.
And then if you don't mind, at the other end of the age spectrum, Søren Kjeldsen just quit his career on the DP World, so he won your event in 2015. What kind of personality are we gonna miss out here without him?
Yeah, Søren, he was always like bright. He was always smiling. But he was a very hard worker also. I think especially for Rasmus and Nikolai, like, it's a great role model to have because of his work ethic and how hard he worked. And he probably, you think about I guess the skill sets that the twins have. They have a lot more natural, not natural ability, but natural attributes that Søren maybe didn't have, in terms of smaller stature, didn't hit the ball very long, but he made up for that with all of the other parts of his game. So yeah, I mean, Søren was a unbelievably consistent player. Played his own game. Probably targeted certain golf courses that would suit him over others, and he had a wonderful career, and now you can go and enjoy his life and not grind on driving ranges all the time.
We're going to go a question from Joy.
Rory, you said your dad, Seve, was the favorite golfer of your dad. Growing up, did he tell you any story of Seve that really stood with you, or really, wowed you?
Not particularly. I think just the style of golf that Seve played is what he was drawn to. Sort of that swashbuckling, almost Houdini-like act of hitting it in trouble and getting out of trouble, and but yeah, I think a lot of people were drawn to Seve because of that. He was an entertainer. He played the game with a certain flair and style, and a little bit like Arnold Palmer before him in the States. It's Seve to European golf is what Arnold Palmer was to golf in America, and I think that's why a lot of people gravitated towards him.
And if I can ask you about Thriston, what a great season he has had. 5 second-place finishes on the tour. In absence of
Beats
guys...
my 4 second places I've had.
In absence of guys like you not playing the entire season on the DP World Tour, what do you think about the rise of a guy like Thriston, and anything you want to say about his game?
Yeah, so I've gotten to play, I guess, a little bit with him. I played behind him the final day at Wentworth, and then played that one hole in the playoff. Played with him the first 2 days last week. And you can see why. Like, for example, you can see why he did well at the Open at Troon. Just his ball flight, how he manages his game. The way he plays, he can. He's quite a creative player. He plays a lot of different shots. And yeah, he's had a wonderful year. We had a good chat last week about what his plans are for next year, and obviously, PJ Tour card and sort of his plans to try to make that work over there as well. So, but yeah, I mean, great young player, plays well in those sort of tougher conditions, and can flight his ball in the wind. And yeah, he's a very, very solid player, and he's had a fantastic year.
Can I just ask one last question about the golf course over here? 14 tournaments over here. You are averaging 12.8 under par for every tournament. You have had only 4 over par rounds in 14 tournaments over here. What's about this golf course that really suits your eyes? And is there any hole over here that you still are not comfortable?
There's a lot of fairway bunkers that are in the middle of the fairway at about 310 yards. So it's nice to be able to hit it over them. I think we've been coming back here for 15 years, and it's a very modern style golf course that suits what I do pretty well. There's 4 par 5s, and I can take advantage of those. There's a couple of shorter par 4s I can get it close to. I don't know. I like the aesthetic of the sort of the splashed up white bunkers. I feel like it provides a lot of definition, and you can see what shots you want to hit. I'm not going to give it too much credit because of who the course designer is, but but it's a course that I have always enjoyed playing.
Okay, we're going to go final 2 questions. So Riath.
Rory, just on the back of something you were saying to Jamie in Abu Dhabi about your scheduling last week. Obviously, you're looking to reduce. What's that going to look like on the DP side? I think this would be something like your 7th tournament this year. You typically seem to play between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Is that likely to replicate, or is that going to come down?
No, I think that'll look very similar going forward. I think I'll most typically start in the Middle East in Dubai, and then I don't really play over here again until the Scottish Open. So I'll play that. That's a tournament that I've enjoyed playing the last few years, especially leading up to the Open Championship. And then once the season in America's done, then come back over. The way the schedule is: Irish Open, Wentworth, Dunhill, these 2 events. It's going to look very similar to what I've always done. Yeah, if anything, the schedule will be reduced over in the States in terms of some of the tournaments I played this year that I typically don't play. Those are the ones that I would shave off.
Okay, and just final question is going to be Pedro.
Hi, Rory. Thanks for your nice words about Seve from the Spanish fans, and congratulations to your father for his great taste on golf, by the way. Any other Spanish players that have inspired you in your career as a professional golfer? And my second quick question is, if I'm not mistaken, 2011 is the last time you played in front of the Spanish crowd. Don't you think it's about time to come back?
Look, when Sergio was coming through, especially after that PGA in '99 at Medina, running up the fairway. And I mean, Sergio was my favorite player for a lot of years. So Sergio definitely inspired me, and then when I got to playing on tour and getting to play on Ryder Cup teams and stuff with him, it was a dream come true for me, to play so closely and to partner with one of my heroes growing up. So yeah, and yeah, I think it was Finca Cordesen was the last time I played in Spain in the match play tournament. Yeah, I should. There's a lot of different places that I'd like to go and play. It's, I think for me, after the summer in America, and I play Irish Open and Wentworth and the Dunhill typically, or at least some years. Yeah, there's only so many tournaments you can play, but I'd love to go back and play the Spanish Open and the French Open, and I've talked about this for a while about the importance of some of these national opens, and they are some of the most historic tournaments that we have in the game. So yeah, I would certainly like to go back and play in front of Spanish fans eventually. It's just a matter of trying to make it all work. So, and there's an event in Valderrama every year, but I can't play on that one, unfortunately.
The food and the wine is amazing, by the way.
Rory, as always, thank you for your time and best of luck this week.
Thank you.
To watch another DP World Tour video, click here, and to subscribe, click here.